The business of operations management is difficult, particularly in large enterprises like banking, insurance, and other services companies with teams of hundreds and thousands around the globe. Now add in recent pandemic forcing the workplace to change forever. Managers and employees are under immense pressure to get work done, while also finding ways to balance performance and well-being. The complexity is building, and it can be difficult to find the answers. This podcast, AO On Air, partnered with ActiveOps, is designed to help identify areas that will help employees, managers, and senior leaders find solutions to the challenges within operations management. The future of work will take all departments, such as HR, IT, and Ops, aligned along with a steady dose of innovation to succeed. We'll bring you topics, thought leadership, and simple plans to help lead your teams into the future of work. A hybrid work world that will learn from one another and truly act globally, breaking down the silos of older management models for new ways of working. Welcome to the journey. Now let's begin.
Hello, and thank you for joining. My name is Michael Cups, and you're watching AO On Air, sponsored by ActiveOps. Really excited about our speaker today and our topic today. It's about returning to the office, which everybody's faced with in one way or in the other. Our speaker is actually experienced in this because he's actually consulting customers with it today, which is a unique perspective because not only is he seeing it play out in real time, he's seeing it from different companies and different perspectives, so it's really important. So, as we return to the office, it's putting us in a unique position. Both employees, managers, and company executives are all trying to decide what the right balance is. When we look back, we reflect on the past 18 months working from home, we all had those good stories and bad stories and the funny stories about kids and dogs appearing on camera. But in retrospect, when we look at that, while it was very difficult both personally and professionally, it may have been an easy transition because it was binary. Everybody had to go work from home. Moving into this hybrid work world, it's going to be a variation. Some people are going to be in the office, some are going to be at home, and that may change week to week, month to month, et cetera. So it's presenting some very unique challenges for the future of work. So, add on top of that government relations, government mandates that change by region, by city, by state in some cases. It just adds a new layer of complexity. Employees have preferences. Employees learned that they could work from home and be productive, and they got more free time avoiding that commute. So there's a whole world that is now in question about from an employee, from the government, and from the executives of what's needed for the business. So it's a very complex problem. So I'm excited to welcome Guru. Guru joins us from ActiveOps, and he has, like I mentioned, been consulting with companies about this return to office already. So I'm excited to have you here, Guru. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Michael. It's great to be here.
So maybe I gave a little bit of introduction of what you've been up to. Maybe just give us a little bit more about who you are and what you do.
Thank you. So I've worked with ActiveOps. I've been working with ActiveOps for the past 9 years and started off with kind of helping organizations look at their capacity planning problems and performance management issues. And over time, as COVID came in and we are starting to see a new kind of challenge which customers are struggling with, and I kind of support them, kind of look at how we can help them evolve into the hybrid working model.
Yeah. So you've been working with actual customers that are already, kind of on the cusp of either returning to office or they have returned to office in some way. But let's go back a little bit in time. So you said you've been with ActiveOps for 9 years. Operations challenges existed prior to the pandemic. So what were those kind of core issues that operations managers were thinking of then when everybody was in the office with them?
The major challenges that operations managers would face was around data being captured on different systems, especially in the back office environment, to kind of get a real-time view of what's happening within my team. Is it that I'll have to ask my team members to stay back? So these were some of the challenges for the operations managers to manage. And for the senior management was like, if you're going to ask staff members to stay back, then it's going to cost you more money, or the staff members are probably going to feel burnt and they're working for longer hours. So these were all kind of different challenges that everybody were facing. So that has been the trend for many years. And as technology has evolved, we are trying to see that robots have come into the space, and how robots kind of helps the human teams kind of load balance. these are some of the other challenges that the managers are facing and continue to face even today.
Excellent. Okay, so Guru, that makes sense. So operations had challenges prior to the pandemic, and then there was this massive rush to push everybody home. What did that do to managers? Managers were in a really tight spot because they were also working from home, and their employees were now home, so they lost line of sight. What were the biggest challenges for operations at that point?
Oh, that was an interesting phase when that happened. I was at the customer's site, and the managers were frantically trying to think of how do I get my teams operational, especially around saying how do they access our infrastructure data when they're working from home? How do I sort VPN issues? So all these challenges were the first priority. So technology teams, operations teams were working overnight to kind of get, and in some organizations, they even had to procure IT assets. So the biggest challenge was to get operational as soon as possible. And once that happened, then the other challenges started to unravel, saying, okay, now I've got my people to work, but how long are they working? How much work is getting completed? So these are the other challenges that they started to face. But during that time when it was like, what's going to happen? Is it going to be a long-term shutdown? All those uncertainties was something that managers were facing. In some, especially in India, we saw a lot of organizations who had restrictions on kind of activity that would be done from their desktop. So you cannot allow pen and paper within their office or operations area. And now you had to think about getting these jobs done outside all those controls. So these were some of the challenges that came out at the start of the pandemic.
Yeah, that's interesting, and there's a lot of elements that went in there, and managers probably frantically were looking not only to help their employees but to understand the productivity, et cetera. So now we're transitioning into this hybrid world, different countries at different paces, different government regulations. What would you identify as the biggest challenges for managers and leaders in a hybrid work world?
So as I started off by saying, the first major challenge that they faced was to get things operational. That was the first biggest challenge. And once they got that sorted out, the next challenge came in the form of saying, okay, getting visibility of what's happening within my operations team. How long are people working? How many items of work is processed? Am I going to meet my SLAs? All those challenges started to become more evident to them. And then gradually vaccination have started, and then you had the opportunity to bring resources back into the operations. But then you had government restrictions which said, okay, you cannot get more than 20% of your operations being occupied because you have to maintain the social teams. Do I prioritize? And if I have to choose only one team, who are the staff members? So these are all challenges which are currently being faced by many organizations. And there are still some organizations who are still stuck in the wave 2 of sorts, where you look at it saying, I do not even know how much of work is being done in real time, or how much time are people spending. So there are lots of organizations who are not able to address that. And then when you think about bringing them back into office, the hybrid work, so they are very, very ill prepared to kind of answer that.
Yeah, so it sounds like there's a big lack of data that the new environment's creating. Well, you've been actually working with a few of our customers to consult with them and use our systems and methodology to help them. So could you give us a few examples, maybe not the company, but the scenario?
Yeah, one of the large bank in the Middle East, who are one of our customers. So Middle East was one of the first regions where they had the vaccination drive come in through fairly quickly, and they were able to get the resources to start coming back into office. But then the challenge was that the government had some regulations that you cannot have more than X number of people. And they had to kind of report back also saying, okay, I'm meeting these compliance requirements. And if not, then they would be facing other legal issues or regulatory issues. So managers were like, I'm getting my people into the office, but I do not know how many of the staff members are actually inside the office, how many were supposed to come in but did not turn up. So can I get visibility of that was one of the asks. And we were able to kind of work with them to kind of help them get visibility on how many resources by day, by teams, to look at saying how many staff members are working in the office, how many are still working in remote mode, how many people are on leave. So that kind of profile view we were able to present to them fairly quickly. And now they have taken data to the next level where they're now starting to look at information in terms of productivity between teams so that they can choose which teams they need to prioritize to bring them back into the office. And if they have got certain teams, they can even now go and look at information in terms of which staff member has a higher productivity when they're working from home vis-a-vis when they're working from office. So they can look at saying, if a staff member has a preference that I want to work from home, the managers can then make an informed decision to say, yes, this individual can perform at the rate or at the standard that we would expect, so they can continue to work from home. If not, probably we request the staff members to come in so that they can get some additional support in the office and improve the performance, and then we can look at the hybrid option for them. Yeah. So we've been doing that with companies, with banks, insurance organizations across the world. So we've got some customers back in North America, Australia, India, pretty much across the globe. So everybody's now getting into it saying, okay, the staff members are making this request. Some organizations have made the decision that the hybrid working model is going to be the way of the future. So how do we support that initiative? So those are the kind of questions that we're trying to help, being able to help the customer with.
So it's interesting because when you think about just a small accounting firm in Dallas, Texas, with 25 people, it's pretty easy to keep track of it. But when you're talking about organizations that have thousands of people in their back office doing various types of tasks, working in different regions of the world, which may have different rules. So I mean, the data and the insight seems like it's got to just be spot on and in real time.
Yeah, it definitely has to be, because one of the things that could be a challenge is, like, there are certain tasks for which requires a much faster internet connectivity, and when people are working from home, you may not have that, and so I need to look at what are those tasks that I need to allocate. So imagine I've got 10 staff members within my team, and I've got 4 of them who are currently working from office, and the rest of them are working in remote mode. Then I can look at visibility, saying who are those staff members who are working in office, and what kind of tasks should I allocate to them, because that type of activity would consume more bandwidth or a better internet speed is required. So managers can make that kind of informed decisions if they have visibility to that particular data.
Yeah, that's important. I mean, and it almost feels fluid, if that's the right word for it. Maybe agile is a better word for it. But you may change that work and those skill sets, daily. If not, certainly weekly, but maybe daily, just because of, people may work 2 days a week or 3 days a week from home or in the office, right?
True.
So how do managers prepare to do those adjustments on the fly, so to speak?
There are different processes, have different SLAs, different challenges. So we work with them very closely to try and understand what are the kind of activities. And our solution kind of allows managers to kind of enable those decision making. They can do intraday planning to kind of look at saying, okay, would I be able to kind of achieve those volumes targets today? If not, what tasks should I prioritize? Can I resequence some of those activities? So managers get that opportunity, and it's enabled by them getting real-time visibility. And it's not just knowing where the staff member is, but also to look at what's my workload, what's the rate at which my team members are working, especially around productivity bits. So that's definitely helpful.
Excellent. So I'm going to ask you, try to avoid the commercial, but what role does ActiveOps play in that? I mean, ActiveOps has work with these customers globally. We have technology and consulting. What is if you could sum it up, how best does ActiveOps enable the hybrid workforce?
So ActiveOps has been, because most of us in ActiveOps come from an operations background. So we understand the challenges which operations managers face day in and day out. So, and you don't want to give a solution to the customer which is not helpful and they feel disappointed, because that's the challenges or the expression or feeling that I had in the past. So our solution is always looking at saying, how can we make the job of a manager much more simpler, so that managers can support the team members get the best results out possible. It's not about working harder and faster, but it's about making them work at a certain pace which is which can help them balance the cost, quality, and service elements of it. And we work with organizations very closely. Our coaches spend time to kind of understand. We also take feedback from customers to try and see how can we evolve a product to kind of meet such requirements. Now, like hybrid working is one of the challenges. Managers were asking, I want real-time visibility quickly. And we could execute that within just a couple of weeks. Within 2 weeks, we had this operational within 2 banks, and they were getting real-time insights. How many staff members are working? And they've been able to now take that information to kind of build capacity plans. And they get to say, okay, I had planned to get 5 staff members into the office and 2 of them did not turn up. So what happened? And what should I do in terms of resequencing my task priorities? So these are all things which managers are now able to do. And we work closely with them to kind of help them adapt or get the maximum out of the tool set.
Yeah, that's impressive. The fact that you could turn it around in 2 weeks to solve a new problem, and the fact that it was because they had the data capture capabilities already in place. And I would venture to say you would probably advise all companies to get started on that now, because who knows what's ahead.
And then staff members are definitely looking at saying, okay, there used to be a time when staff members would look at saying, okay, I will probably change my job if I get a better pay. But now when you think about it, the staff members are working from home. And these are conversations that I've had with different customers, and they share this experience that their attrition rates have not been very high. The reason being, usually during appraisal time, the managers are worried saying staff members would leave them for better pay. But now what they're saying is that the salary is currently fixed, and the cost in terms of travel cost and other bits have actually dropped. So staff members are asking, saying, can I continue to work from home because it helps me get my balance right?
Yeah.
And if you're going to say, no, you have to come back into work, I'll have to start looking for options. Some of the staff members are actually making those demands for the managers now.
Yeah. It's interesting because it's also better for all of us, and not to mention potentially the environment and things like that to reduce commute time, et cetera. So it's a great benefit to both the employees, the managers, and the companies if we can get this hybrid work world right. And from your perspective, it sounds like in what you're doing already, it starts with getting data and then making informed decisions based on those insights. Excellent. Well, thank you, Guru. This was a good topic and good information. If somebody wanted to carry on the conversation with you directly, how would they find you?
People can get in touch with me on my LinkedIn profile, or they can write to me at guru.jayasimha@activeops.com. And also, people can get onto our website and look at some more collaterals, information about hybrid working and the different solutions that we offer. And they can raise their queries even on that particular site too.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Guru, for joining us. Be well. It's a good conversation, and it seems like you're just out there in the front line helping companies return to office. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me here, Michael.
Excellent. And for the rest of you, obviously, hybrid work is a very difficult transition, but it's happening, and it's happening at a rapid pace depending on where you are geographically around the world. The important thing is thinking about the holistic view. Not only is the companies deciding who's going to return to the office, but the managers have to work through it, and they also have to look after the well-being and the employees' preferences. And as Guru mentioned in the conversation, some of them now have choices they didn't have before because they've proved to themselves they can work from home for any company. So it's really upon the managers to find the right data, to manage the right expectations, both up and down. And so we're here to help at ActiveOps. You can find more information, as Guru mentioned, on our website at ActiveOps.com. Thank you very much for joining us on AO on Air. We look forward to talking to you soon. Take care.
ActiveOps is a management process automation company servicing global enterprises with large numbers of people engaged in clerical administrative work. If you reduce what our software does to its simplest, it enables our clients to more precisely balance work and capacity, which is really hard to do both consistently and at scale. We have about 165 people in 7 offices around the world, and we have about 80 enterprise clients. Our customers are insurance companies, banks, outsourcers which service that type of community. They are too big to fail organizations, which is really important in terms of the persistence of our client base. And our software supports them providing globally significant infrastructure, your credit card payments, your the check clearing systems, the kind of things that we all take for granted but have to work in society.